Hey, what's up you guys, it's Connor, and today I'm going to be doing a book review for Gregor the Overlander by Suzanne Collins. If you guys don't know, Suzanne Collins is most well known for her Hunger Games trilogy, which is now getting a prequel. It hasn't come out yet at the time that I'm filming this, but it's coming out sometime this year. But she has written a middle grade series, so I decided that it's finally time for me to give it a shot. I've had this book for so long on my shelves, and I just neglected it for years. So today we're going to be talking about Gregor the Overlander, the first book in this middle grade series. If you guys don't know, this follows an 11-year-old boy named Gregor. At the beginning of the book, he's living with his mother and his two younger sisters. His father has been gone for quite a while now, and his life has been basically on pause. He hasn't really started making plans for the future. He's just stuck, and he's just in a funk. One day he's doing laundry with his youngest sister, who is called Boots. She's 2 years old, and they together fall through a grate and fall into Underland. In the Underland, there are giant versions of animals that people generally don't like. So there are giant spiders, giant rats, giant bats, and giant cockroaches, as well as a few other giant things. And there's also a group of humans that live in the Underland all the time and have been living there for a very long time. When Gregor and Boots are found in the Underland, they figure out that they have to go on a quest, which will either save the humans that are in the underworld or potentially destroy the humans in the underworld, and that is what they have to do to be able to get back home to their mom and their other sister. The reason they have to go on this quest was that a long time ago there was a prophecy, and people think that it might be starting to come true. As usual with my book reviews, I'm going to go through my pros, go through my cons, give you my rating, and be done. My first pro for this book is that I just really enjoyed following Gregor in this. He's such a good main character. I thought that his feeling of being down and just putting his life on pause was one that a lot of people would be able to relate to. Like, I think that even adults would be able to relate to that feeling when something happens that is beyond your control and then you just kind of go into a funk. It was nice to see that Gregor, throughout the course of this story, is starting to come out of that and starting to realize that he can start making plans for his life again and start, having hopes for the future. I also really like that Gregor is very respectful to people. He definitely owns up when he does something wrong and he tries to do better in the future. So I think that that is something that's really important for middle grade readers and everyone to know, is that when you do something wrong, you address it, you promise to do better in the future, and then you act accordingly. Fantastic. And so I'm just really excited to see where Gregor goes in the future of this series. I also freaking adore Boots. Boots is such a cute little toddler. I really enjoyed her. She treats all of the characters exactly the same. She has a vast amount of trust, and she really recognizes people for how unique they are, even if they look the same. She's like the only person in the Underland that can distinguish between different cockroaches, and I just love Boots. I love how Gregor and her interact and how Gregor is always taking care of her and making sure that she has what she needs. I have a feeling that Boots is going to be very important for the series going forward, and I cannot wait to see Boots' role in the future of this series. I also liked a lot of the side characters, like Luxa, who is a princess, and Vicus, who is this old man who is really, really wise, but people don't always listen to what he has to say. I also really liked this character named Ripred. I also am more curious to know more about him because I think that there are a lot more things that we will learn throughout the future of the series. And so the whole cast of characters was one that I got invested in and I want to see more of. That's why I'm really excited to continue along with the series and pick up the second book at some point. My next pro for this book was that I really loved the setting. I really liked the juxtaposition between the Overland, where people are in charge and people have been ruling the earth. I mean, you know what I mean, for such a long time. And in the Underland, it's not like that. It almost reminded me a little bit of the Nutcracker, where there's giant rats and there's giant toys and stuff like that. Humans are not the only intelligent beings in the Underland, so I liked seeing the rats and the spiders and the cockroaches and the bats and the humans all have to try to live in the same world at the same time. It's one where there's a lot of tensions between the different groups, but I think that that's something that's going to be explored throughout the entire series. It's one where a lot of the different groups are not equal and they don't view each other as equals, so it causes a lot of problems. And that's a lot of what is addressed in here, is equality and stuff like that. I also just love that Suzanne Collins decided to use these animals that people generally don't like, rats, bats, cockroaches, and spiders. It was way more shocking to see them so intelligent and also on equal footing to humans than it would be if there was just super smart dogs and cats. So I really liked the use of cockroaches and stuff like that because you end up caring for these characters. Like, I was really invested in these cockroaches, which is such a weird thing to say. And I think that Suzanne Collins did a really good job of setting up this world. I definitely had this picture in my mind of what everything looked like. It's very dark down here. The humans that live in the Underland all have really pale, almost translucent skin, and they use a lot of stonework to do their buildings and to create their structures because there is not a lot of light. So there are not a lot of plants, and I really liked the whole setup of this world. My next pro for this book is that I think that it was really well paced. There is constant action. The plot is always moving forward, but not at a breakneck speed. It's a quick adventure story, and the characters have to tackle small skirmishes as they go along, and then there's a bigger climactic scene at the end. But I just think that everything was well timed and well spaced, and it didn't feel contrived at all. I just was shocked. I also think that this book gives a lot of catharsis at the end. I was really satisfied when I finished reading this, and then I also want to know more. There is some hintings of things that will happen in the future, and so I'm excited to learn those things, but I feel very satisfied with the ending of this book. I think that's enough pros. I definitely really enjoyed this. As for cons, I was trying to think of things, and the only one was that I felt like the spiders in this didn't get as much time as all the other species. I know that there are a couple other species that are in the Underland that haven't really been explored all that much, but I was hoping to get more on the spiders because I got really invested in these cockroaches, but I wasn't as invested in the spiders, and I would like to know more about what's going on with them. We know that the humans are very organized. The rats are a little more brutal and chaotic, but for the most part, fairly organized. The cockroaches are a bit more flighty and they don't seem as centralized as the humans and the rats, but I don't feel like I know all that much about the spiders and how their culture is set up and everything like that. So I was hoping to get more about that. I'm sure it will be in the future of the series, but that was like the only con that I could think of. When I first finished this book, I rated it 4 stars on Goodreads, but now that I'm talking about it, now that I'm thinking about it more, I might bump that up. Like, I think this might be a 5-star book for me. It was so fun. I really loved all the messages. I really loved the characters. I love the pacing and the world. I think I'm gonna say that this is a 5-star book for me. And I definitely recommend it. So that's going to be my review of Gregor the Overlander by Suzanne Collins. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. Nook didn't like me propping the book up against him. If you've read this book, let me know what your thoughts were on it. Anything else you want me to know, leave it down below, and I will talk to you guys next time.